I guess I really wasn't thinking about the length of time that I would be gone or not being able to, at least for the basic training portion of it, not being able to go to the store or, to go get my nails done or just small things like that. The bigger things I think were kind of in the back of my mind about really what it meant to me going into the military and what that was going to mean for me, what it was going to mean for potentially for my career, what it meant for the country at the time. And, potentially going to be a part of a war. That wasn't the case at the time, but, that's a potential when you go into the military. Originally, the thing that drove my decision to go in the military was a way to pay for school. I have 10 siblings, and it was not like that my parents were going to be able to send me to college. As I thought about, what I wanted to do and I wanted to go to college, there were opportunities in the military where I could do that. There were also opportunities where I could learn some skills that I thought might be useful. Well, basic training was very odd for me. One, because I wasn't right out of high school. I had lived away from my parents for a while at that point, so I was not used to things like having a curfew or, going to bed at a certain time or somebody yelling at you. I wasn't used to things like, asking to go to the bathroom. I used to get in trouble every single day when I was in basic training over little things like just like that. But the parts of basic training that I really liked was being around the other soldiers, especially the female. It was a female barracks. It was a World War II barracks that I was in. Um, and I liked just getting to know each other. I had AIT next after basic training. My AIT, I was in special electronics, and what that meant was working on equipment like night vision equipment, something I was not familiar with, but I was had somewhat of an interest in, and not before I went to basic training. It was what I scored the highest in, and because what I scored the highest in, it created an interest for me. And I did have the opportunity, though, to work in special electronics when I got assigned to another unit. But other than that, I did a lot of administrative jobs when I was assigned to a unit because we didn't have the equipment there. I think as a female in the military, some of the unique challenges that I had were if you're assigned to a military unit or even special electronics, it's primarily men. I remember one time specifically when both the bathrooms were assigned for men. They put a male sign on the female bathroom. And whenever I had to go, I had to make sure that there was somebody guarding the door, and in that particular situation, there wasn't another female. So we had to go to another unit to get somebody to guard the door for me. So just things like that. I remember one time I was on a base where there were no females allowed in a particular area, but I was at that time a commander. And so I thought I should be allowed in the sections where the soldiers went into. Some of the changes that happened in the military in the time that I was there is there were a lot more jobs for women and more jobs that were not administrative type roles. I saw more women. I interacted with more women who had major roles in combat situations, who had come back from combat situations. In basic training at AIT, there were a lot of Black females around. When I got to my unit, it was a little bit different because it was primarily white males. They were all Army, all military. Their families had been in the military, and so we didn't have any shared experiences really to talk about either. The day that I'll never forget is the first time I held a rifle. I had never held a weapon in my hand until that day. The whole experience of having a weapon and the expectations of having a weapon in my hand for the first time, I think that's going to be a day that I'll remember forever. I think the biggest takeaways that I have from my time in the military is organization, is collaboration, those types of basic things that I, really didn't think about when I was going to school. You learn how much you depend on other people, how much other people depend on you. One of the terms that they use in the military a lot, and you learn it very early on, is your battle buddy. Calling somebody your battle buddy is somebody that you expect to go into battle with, and so you trust them. And so those were some of the types of experiences that carried over not just to my career, but in friendships, in all types of relationships. These days, I do a little bit of everything. I'm a consultant, mostly for healthcare consulting, healthcare compliance consulting. I continue to serve the community. I belong to several boards. I'm on several committees, local committees. One is Main Street Arts Festival. I'm the judge manager for Main Street Arts Festival for the Christmas Parade. Christmas Parade is probably the most fun of the committees that I serve on. But I also serve on boards that do a lot of work for children and for families, for women. It's been hard for me to say no to a board with a good cause. They're part of the community and they serve a lot of people and a lot of needs. For fun, I like to spend time with people. I like to eat. I like to travel. I don't do a lot of travel right now. I visit my mom every other week in Oklahoma, so it cuts down on my travel. I do a little bit of running now, but I want to get back into running marathons like I did before. I'm a people person. I like to spend time with family and with friends. The advice that I would give to women who are considering joining the military is, if it's something you're thinking about, do it. It was a great experience. I think it can be a great experience for younger women who, like I did, maybe need some tuition assistance, help with school, but it can also be a great place to meet people who you'll know for the rest of your life, and learn about getting along with people and working with people. My name is Erma Lee, and I served in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Army Reserve from 1987 to 2015.